Inside the dangers of Venezuelan migrant gangs living in America.
So I just want to clarify one question. Solo quiero clarificar una cuestión. Los trenes de Araguas están aquí en Colorado.
So I just recently started hearing about this dude named Nick Shirley. I figured I'd give some of his journalism a chance. So here we have him. It looks like he's going out. He's questioning people about gangs. I actually didn't have a chance to read the subtitles, so we're going to restart the video. But it's cool that he speaks two languages, man. All right. So I just want to clarify one question.
Solo
that
quiero
was
clarificar
English.
una cuestión. Los trenes de Araguas están aquí en Colorado.
Sí, hay bastante.
A bullet come through right here? So right here where we're standing, is this where the Venezuelans came with the guns and they started pointing out?
They look
people in
like
the video
normal
that we saw on the
apartments.
internet? And right here in this window, it's obvious that a bullet was shot right through there. Okay. So do you believe that gang activity is actually
Yeah, there was
happening
definitely
here?
a bullet shot through that
I'm standing here in
window.
Denver, Colorado, and here dangerous Venezuelan gangs such as Tren de Araguas have allegedly started to overtake apartment complexes and extort the people. These gangs are extremely dangerous, and it's extremely frightening that they
I don't understand how this could happen with just the police force in general. That seems like a one-call problem, and it's taken care of.
have arrived here, not just only in
What are they
Denver,
going to
but they've
do
also arrived in
when the
cities like New York
SWAT team shows up?
City, Chicago, and other sanctuary states and cities in America. And now you may be wondering how we got to this point in the United States where Venezuelan gangs are actually committing crimes such as extorting and attacking police officers like they did in New York City. But we all know that over the past couple of years, millions of migrants have entered the United States, and a large majority of those migrants are good people seeking for a better life. But we
Of
also
course.
have many people that have
They
came here
all
to cause
are.
harm. As a large group of those migrants coming across the border are military-age men that have came over here.
They're
all
seeking
by
a better
themselves.
life
And
too.
now, with
They just
Venezuela
make
being the
bad
safest it's ever
decisions.
been,
Terrible
many people
decisions.
believe that their gangs and their prisons were let out of Venezuela to come here, and now they are assembling themselves as they have shown in videos on the internet, and as they have now started extorting specifically here in this area of Denver, Colorado. And today we are going to be going
They're savages. They're fucking savages. You expect a savage to change his ways just because he crosses over a borderline?
into these locations where the Venezuelan gangs have taken control, talking to the locals and the people that live
You're out
inside
of
these
your
complexes.
mind.
We're going to be trying our best to track down Tren de Araguas and show you guys who these people are and how you guys can identify them here in Denver, Colorado, and across America. On the outside of this apartment complex, it literally says
He wrote that there
Tren
right before
de
this clip.
Araguas. That is a Venezuelan gang that has taken over this city of Denver, specifically Aurora. We're gonna go in here and see if we can talk to
Aurora,
anybody, as they
Denver.
have obviously posed.
I've heard
they have
about this
obviously
place.
shown that this is a spot where Tren de Araguas has either came or is currently extorting to the people. Is it true that Tren de Araguas has came here to this area of Aurora?
Sí, por todo esto. Incluso allá arriba cerraron un apartamento.
Entonces no es una mentira que los bandilleros han venido.
No, no.
¿Y qué está haciendo los bandilleros?
Pues lo que siempre, robar, meterse a todos los conjuntos, sacar cosas de los mercados, todo eso.
¿Y ha escuchado de otras personas aquí en este sector que han sido extornados?
No, por aquí no. Por aquí, por estos lados. Pero de aquel lado sí que hubo mucho eso.
So she's from Venezuela, and what kind of crimes do Tren de Araguas commit in Venezuela? So people here in America can understand how dangerous they really are.
Robar, matar,
Steal,
extorsionar,
kill,
todo
extort,
eso.
all of
Y
that.
quieren venir aquí a hacer lo mismo. No están en Venezuela.
Doing that in the U.S.
Que hagan
requires
lo que
some
hacen
balls
allá.
because we all have the
And so you
Second
believe they
Amendment
also wanna do
here.
the same here
We're
as
all
well.
strapped
Sí, ya
up.
se ve que lo hacen.
Y personas como usted y yo deberíamos estar temerosos de los miembros.
Sí, porque no les importa. A ellos no les importa hacerle daño a
A
cualquier
few
persona.
Do
security
you feel
cameras,
safe walking the streets here?
few guns in your
Ahora, en
place.
este sector está
Someone
peor
breaks
que era
in.
ahí en Venezuela.
Sí,
Send a
está
few
casi igual
shots.
que Venezuela.
Well, she's saying it is literally just about as bad in Venezuela as it is here in Aurora, Colorado with the gang. And what would be your message to the political leaders of the United
That
States
seems like a
knowing
stretch.
that Tren de Araguas have arrived and they are committing a grievous crimes like murder and extorting to the people?
O que si pueden agarrarlos, mejor. Si
Yeah,
los pueden
deport them,
deportar.
yep.
This apartment complex right here is one of the main apartment complexes that has been shut down due to rumors of Venezuelan gangs such as Tren de Araguas extorting the people inside of this building. This building is also in horrible shape. It is all boarded
Where
up.
are they at,
They have
bro?
a fence around the entire perimeter, and they have even hired their own personal security to defend and protect this building. And man, how come this building is closed down right now?
I'm not gonna talk.
Tren de Araguas,
I'm not gonna talk to you.
what can you tell us about what happened here inside this apartment complex?
Oh, ese edificio lo cerraron por una balacera que hubo ahí en ese, donde está abierta la ventanilla. Se balearon 5 personas.
Five people were
no
shot
sé
on the
si
top
hubieron
floor.
muertos. pero más el motivo fue por eso, porque ya había mucho desmadre ahí. Los mismos ellos armaban el mismo desmadre y entre ellos mismos se...
Yeah, people were saying, yeah, apartment buildings were being taken over. I mean, it doesn't seem like that. When you hear apartment buildings are being taken over, you're expecting them to be living in the apartment, barricading it, fortifying it, breeding in it, and building a regime to go over and take over the rest of America. You don't expect a few homicide cases and then them just to be moving on. I think that's a little bit of a headline. I think some homicides did take place in that building for sure. It's a little bit more on the ghetto side, but this is not them fortifying a building to go at war with the U.S. from the inside out.
peleaban y se agarraban allá adentro.
So inside this apartment complex, the migrants and the Venezuelans that were living in there had guns.
Sí, tenían armas porque de luego se agarraron adentro porque habían armas adentro del edificio.
And how is it possible for these Venezuelan migrants to get these guns?
Pues no sé, pero ahí se agarraron adentro con armas y los que se tiraron salieron para acá afuera.
So the bullets were leaving outside that building into your guys' neighborhood.
De adentro para afuera estaban saliendo nosotros estábamos dormidos, estábamos acostados con mi doña, como nosotros tenemos un bebé de 1 año. Nosotros tuvimos que tirarlos para el suelo porque fue allí en el último y se miraba que salían las chispas de las armas y los muchachos ya donde salieron tirados vinieron a salir a las calles, ya tirados los muchachos. Uno cayó allí por donde está la camioneta blanca. Se salieron pues ya tirados de adentro.
So everybody started leaving and running out of that apartment complex because there's literally a war going on with guns inside of the building. And
Sí.
See, that's where he's fucking up because it's not literally a war, bro. This is like Chicago. This is like Chirac, and when you're doing this journalism, you want to convey a non-biased perspective here. And when you're saying, oh, there's literally a war going, there's not literally a war going on. There are some dumbasses up in a fucking apartment building shooting fucking pistols or whatever. There's no fucking helicopters, there's no tanks. This isn't a literal war. It just sounds so silly, like in rap music when you hear these rappers saying, oh, we're at war. Bro, you're part of a gang. It's not really a war. You're just kind of more of a nuisance to society rather than a militant group of people that are actually conducting missions. Let's not get it confused.
Salieron porque eso fue en la madrugada como a las 3 de la mañana.
personas murieron adentro de ese?
No sé, pero sí hubieron tirados.
So people were shot. We don't know if they were killed, but they were shot and they left with wounds in their stomachs and in their body.
Sí, salieron disparados, baleados en sus pechos.
Usted salió a un país de tercer mundo y ahora parece que los Estados Unidos está volviendo a ser más como un tercer mundo.
Sí, porque se está, en vez de estar bien uno.
Yeah, to start saying it like the U.S. is feeling like a third world country because there's a little gang bout in an apartment building. Again, this is just like seeking attention. It's seeking like this fear mongering mindset. And I don't think that's the case at all, man. I don't think that's the direction that the U.S. is heading. I think we do have strong leaderships, and I don't think we're heading towards a third world country type of economic status anytime soon. In fact, I don't think ever. Hopefully.
No,
In my lifetime. Ever in my lifetime.
tiene que andar con un ojo adelante y otro atrás.
And before I went over to the apartment complex where the video went viral, the Venezuelan gangs walking around with a rifle, I wanted to call a friend who's a nightcrawler in New York City to explain just how dangerous these gangs are and how to identify them with their tattoos. Can you tell the people a little bit how these gangs identify themselves and what kind of tattoos they get and how people can know whether a person is a gang member or not?
Sure. So there's multiple different tattoos these gangs use. There is anything Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls, the Michael Jordan sign, 23. Another telltale sign is anything with trains.
Interesting.
Right?
What does MJ
If
have to
a
do with
train
this?
anywhere. Train tracks, trains. That's another telltale
Okay.
sign of Tren de Agua. Another thing is crowns.
Tren
They
de
love the
Agua,
crowns.
trains.
For some reason, they love the crowns. And then you got your AK-47s, which is another symbol of the TDA gangs. Again, these are very dangerous gangs, Nick. And I've seen it firsthand, and they're linked to murders and decapitations throughout New York City now.
So these gangs, the way you can tell if they're a gang member, if they got a train tattoo, they got a crown tattoo, anything Michael Jordan in 23.
AK-47, yeah.
Yeah, Chicago Bulls, 23, hoops. Look, and again, be careful. There's a lot of robberies on the streets. Just give them your stuff. and walk away. It's not worth it. These
No,
guys
bro.
are dangerous. They will slice
If they
you
come
up.
for
I've
my
personally
stuff,
seen them slice
we're gonna
people up.
have to
I've seen them beat
have a little
people
shootout
senseless.
about that, man.
They're dangerous, and I'm a born New Yorker. I grew up in the mob days, right? And even the mob didn't do what these guys are doing.
Yeah, it's
Right?
getting nuts. Well, Leroy, we appreciate.
The mobs did worse than what these guys are doing. Sure, the mobs, you know, maybe they might have had a little bit more dignity, a little bit more respect for civilians, for women, but the mobs definitely were pretty brutal.
What you're doing in New York City, and I'm sure everyone's gonna be happy to know.
Look at the Vegas River or whatever the fuck, where they were putting people in barrels, all types of shit, man, cutting them up.
These gang members and how they can spot them. These are the apartment complexes where the migrants came in, and where you saw the video of the people coming through with a rifle to knock down a door. We're gonna go see if we can talk to some of the people here. We got some people out here doing some car work.
Low IQ activities.
These first migrants working on a car outside would not speak to me, and if you guys are still watching this video, I want to remind you to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps me out. And now let's get inside this apartment complex and see.
Yeah, man, if you guys are seeing this video, make sure you head over to Nick Shirley's channel. You know, he's actually going out in the streets making this content, and I'm just over here reacting to it. So if you see this video, make sure you head over to his channel, shoot him a like and whatever.
What is actually going on in Aurora, Colorado? A lot of the cars here also are not registered. There are no plates on a lot of these vehicles here in this parking lot. So a lot of people are driving around unregistered vehicles, which also causes a harm because the police can't
They're
track
hot
what's going
cars.
down.
Yeah, they're
and
hot
these people are
cars.
using these cars for something that is not legal. We got piles of garbage. We got a lot of Coca-Cola. We got some cerveza. We got some alcohol right there. And this place is not being maintained by anybody at all. So here at these apartment complexes, they're not being taken care of whatsoever. We got a door through this window right
The
here.
owners, I guess,
And,
just
I'm
said,
gonna
"Fuck
stop."
it.
And right here, another window is broken through, and they got plywood.
Who owns these apartments? Why wouldn't they just call the police and get this place cleaned up and get these things rented out? What's going on?
On the outside of this one. A bullet hole right there. Hola, ¿alguien está aquí? Hola, a bullet come through right
You're
here.
leaving too much
So from
money
what
on the
you've heard,
table, not
you believe
renting
that
out
train
these
de drogas that
apartments.
came here,
And they're
lo que
nice
has
looking
escuchado,
apartments. They don't
¿qué
even look
tren de
bad.
drogas han llegado aquí?
Por lo que se escucha, dicen que es el tren.
Es una gran posibilidad que sí.
Sí.
When you guys got here to America, did you think you guys would be living in conditions like this?
No.
And right here in this window, it's obvious that a bullet was shot right through there.
Yeah, really. I mean, I wonder what migrants think America really is, because I bet on the outside, looking in, it probably looks so much more glorious. And then you get over to America and you see that you're just another form of a peasant if you're not rich.
But do you believe that gang activity is actually
Unfortunately.
happening here? Like bullets, we've seen videos of migrants that do have guns.
Can I say this? This neighborhood
America's a great country. I'm
technically
not saying
always
that.
has
I love
shootings.
America.
Like, this is my thing is, there was a shooting 2 nights
But if you think you're going to come over here and just magically get the American dream and get rich and all of this shit, that's all nonsense.
ago, they blamed it straight on the Venezuelans. This neighborhood has always had shootings. But what I'll say about it is,
Does he have the
yes,
AK-47
when you have
tattoo?
people,
I
if
don't
they
see
have
it.
bad motives and they want to secure this as a foundation, if they do, they will cause hecticness. But what I'm saying is, this neighborhood has always had these issues, and they're blame it on the Venezuelan. Now, the Venezuelans...
I feel like what he's saying is actually really accurate, and this just goes back to what I was saying exactly about like the Chirac and it's just seeming like the ghetto. This just seems like a low poverty line here that these people are living under. So it doesn't seem like, you know, these people are the most high class individuals that maybe have they probably don't have the best of educations, and they don't have the best of careers or just overall standards of living, and just who they are.
They came
how
here
present
and they found
themselves.
free rent, free housing.
Free rent, yeah.
Because the owners of these places are not, they really were slumlords. So people were already living here, drug addicts, prostitutes, but this was an easy place for them.
You gotta imagine if you come over from Venezuela and you're living in a third world country and it's just garbage and it's trash and like the buildings are just half blown up and shit. You walk outside, you can get shot. I mean, you come over to the U.S. and immediately, sure, you're another form of a peasant, but at least you're not living in those conditions. So like you're gonna be okay just chilling and coasting on the bare minimum, collecting a little bit of a check from the government and just vibing out on a couch watching Netflix somewhere.
To come and say, hey, we're going to move in and not pay rent. That's what it is.
Has the city done anything, or have they called on any other gangs in the city? Because we know that Denver, like you said, there's a lot of gangs here. Have they called on the gang to try and come maybe fight these Venezuelan gangs?
And that's the situation, is that after the police didn't come in here and raid these places if there was a lot of problems like there was. People started calling on the local gangs. You guys should go confront them. Like, this is your neighborhoods. When you think about it, it's like, bro.
Wow, you're really trying to call on local gangs because the police won't do their jobs?
They wanted people to
What politician is making it so the police can't go in and do their jobs?
come over here and start basically a war. Let's turn this up and have conflicts where they can actually have something to say, hey, it's going crazy over there.
Why don't the police come in here instead of the other gangs?
Exactly.
I
What's
couldn't
going
even
on?
tell you that. That's why when I see all this stuff, why didn't the gangs, when they had the footage of the dudes with the guns, right? If it was gangbangers, they would have came in here and raided the whole situation, and this place would have been flipped, because Colorado, Denver, they put gangbangers on the terrorist list. But they seen this on the footage and they didn't even come in here, so I don't. It's kind of like,
there hasn't been one single arrest since that video took place.
no. And these fools had their faces was uncovered. But if it was
So you got to think, if these people actually get arrested, maybe the Republicans are going to make a case against the Democrats. And look, I'm just throwing something out there because I'm trying to figure out why the fuck the police wouldn't come in and just clean this up. Maybe the politicians are sitting there saying, you know what, if we arrest these guys, it's going to hit the stats, and when it hits the stats, it's going to show that this is bad, and then it's going to make us look bad. Maybe that's the case. I can't even imagine that that's actually the case. I think maybe we just might have a resource problem in this area of this state, and maybe we're just short on officers, and that's really what it's coming down to.
gangbangers, they definitely going to come in here. They going to indict the whole neighborhoods around here, you know?
So do you think it could have been an inside job by the people that run the government here in Denver?
Because you also have to take into account these gangs that are sitting in this neighborhood. Again, they're taking the tags off of the cars. They're taking the cameras off the buildings. They're taking the cameras off the streetlights if they have any. They're doing everything that they can to make this as big of a hassle as possible for police, if they do come in, to even get a guilty verdict on these charges.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to. It's deeper
So you
than
have to
just
risk your life for this.
Venezuela's invading. It's like these dudes set this up. That's how I feel.
Where are all the people from that live inside this apartment complex?
Aquí, la gente que vive aquí, hay personas venezolanas, personas de México, de Honduras, de Brasil, de África. Aquí hay personas de todos diferentes países, no nada más venezolanos, como dicen en las redes, que en Aurora, que en los apartamentos solo hay venezolanos y que hay mafiosos y que hay bandas.
Who do you guys pay rent to? ¿Y ustedes a quién paga su alquiler?
Al dueño de los apartamentos, nosotros por lo menos yo tengo contrato.
She's a lease
¿Cuánto usted
agreement.
tiene que pagar para vivir aquí?
1,200 pago yo.
1,200.
1,200.
That's a fair
Aparte,
rent
la
price.
luz,
$1,200.
los
This
servicios.
migrant said she was paying $1,200
That's
in
a little
rent.
bit below
However,
average,
in just a
but
few moments she will
for that
reveal
neighborhood, that
how
seems
these
high.
migrants are actually able to live inside this apartment complex. But first, she let me get a tour of her apartment complex and the apartment complex of her father. All right, let us in here. Whoa. Here on the wall, there's holes. She says the electricity doesn't work, the hot water doesn't run. Not a very good situation inside here. This is the
$1,200.
bathroom
You
in
better
here.
be getting some fucking working electricity and water.
So the water inside your shower does not drain, and there is no hot water.
No sale agua caliente en la ducha. Yo tengo que calentar agua para bañar a los niños y eso se tapa que a veces no baja el agua.
And then obviously the kitchen right here.
Se pone el agua y si no se seca se pone podrida el agua. Entonces tengo que estar secando, dejando un trapo ahí siempre.
Yeah, that
You still have to
apartment's
pay
not worth
$1,200 to live
$1,200.
here. Todavía tiene-
Ya por lo menos estos meses atrás ya el dueño no ha querido recibir ninguna clase de pago.
So now we've hopped over to the
The
next
last
building,
couple of
and on
months,
the
the
windows
owner
right
didn't
here,
want
there's
any form of
gunshots,
payment.
bullets. These apartment complexes are in horrible condition. There's also throw up, whether it be a person or a dog. This place is absolutely disgusting. Oh. But this one's even worse. She said
Maybe the owner just thinks that if they collect any form of payment, it's just going to end up in a lawsuit or some type of litigation, because, I mean, these are really not livable conditions if, you know, there's just gang violence to this degree and the apartments are all fucked up like this.
can't even live here because the water doesn't even work. There's holes through the roof where water has came through, and you can't.
Like, again, if I had tenants and I had an apartment complex, and in the apartment complex where people were living, the fucking the electricity wasn't working and the water wasn't working, I wouldn't charge them to live there either. I'd be like, you know what, guys, you can move out if you'd like. You can completely break your lease agreement, or you can stay there until I get the shit fixed, and you can just be there for completely free. It's up to you.
Use the shower, tub, anything in this apartment is destroyed. There's cockroaches everywhere in here, and so nobody can live or even sleep in here because how bad of condition it is. And does your father still have to pay rent?
Ya el dueño no está recibiendo
There's
ninguna
cockroaches
clase de pago
everywhere. I
porque
haven't seen one
él
cockroach.
también está tomando todo esto que de pandillas, de que mafia se está aprovechando de todo esto para sacarnos a nosotros como que si fuéramos perros y no es justo.
And so you say the landlord is not collecting rent, so are the gangs now coming in and charging people dinero?
No, nadie. Aquí nadie nos ha cobrado a nosotros nada.
And did you think that your life was going to be like this when you came across the border to live here in the United States?
No, jamás. Me hubiera quedado en mi país. Dicen que aquí
You would have
ya
stayed
todo
in
es
your country,
diferente,
please.
las leyes, todo, uno consigue su buen trabajo, uno sale adelante, puede reunir plática para llevar a su país, pero no todo es como lo dicen, que el sueño americano simplemente...
First off, if you get a job in America, do not say that you're going to take your money back over to your home country. Your job when you come over here is not to destroy our ship to go build another ship. Your job is to build upon our ship as an American.
Es un sueño. Cuando llegas aquí ya despiertas. No es como lo dicen.
Si alguien le dio un vuelo para regresar, una oportunidad de regresar a Venezuela, ¿regresaría?
Con todo el amor del mundo regresaría a mi país, sí.
¿Y usted cree que bandilleros han llegado aquí?
Sí he escuchado tiroteo, pero aquí adentro no he visto a ninguna persona con armamentos.
Okay.
Si vienen de los alrededores, vienen carros y arman, o sea, echan tiros que vienen y pues echan el poco de tiros y se van.
Y entonces sí escucharon los disparos.
Sí, el día que se armó el tiroteo, no sé, que corría mucha gente, yo escuché todo, pero salí corriendo, me escondí, fue en el baño, porque o sea, me daba miedo.
Aquí
No,
han escuchado disparos.
Se escuchaban allá afuera.
Afuera. And you believe those are members of Tren de Araguas? ¿Y creen que ellos son miembros de Tren de Araguas?
Bueno, no les sé decir porque no los he visto a nadie.
Pero de lo que ha escuchado de sus ventanas.
Dicen por el tipo de armamento, en los videos que han salido el tipo de armamento, dicen que son del Tren de Aragua. Hay muchos de ellos que dirán que son del Tren de Aragua. Nosotros somos venezolanos.
Does it really matter where they're from? Like Tren de Agua, like is it a gang or is it a location? Because like they're saying it like they're from Tren de Agua and it's like a location and not a gang.
Pero somos de familia sana.
So the landlords have completely fled these buildings, which has caused a perfect situation for gangs to actually come in here and start extorting to the people, because if there's no government per se or no landlord inside this complex, the gangs come in and they create their own government, their own society here inside this complex.
That's just people in general. It's not even gangs, bro. I mean, dude, homeless people are going to look for a place to live. They're going to look for shelter. And if you're saying that the landlord just fled the country, yeah, people are just going to move in. And you can call them a gang of people, but they're just people looking for free rent. You're standing here wide in the open. I don't see that you have a vest on that's bulletproof. If you had gangs surrounding you, I would believe that you would take this situation more seriously. I think
So
there's
that's
also a
why
camera right
gangs are
there.
actually able to come in here and charge these people rent, even though they have no control of these buildings, because essentially all these people that are living here in this apartment building are squatting because they're not paying rent to anybody. And now, from everybody I talked to inside this apartment complex, it seems like a lot of people are very hesitant.
Now that's a form of extortion for sure. Yeah, if you don't own the buildings, you can't just fucking go in there and start saying, "Hey, by the way, I run this area, and if you don't give me money, I'm just gonna fucking put a gun to your head and kick you out of this place."